back to my channel. I'm really excited to be doing another wedding updates video for you guys today, sharing kind of what I've been up to with this whole wedding planning process. I have some really exciting updates to share with you, starting with the fact that we officially have a wedding date. Yay! So June 2nd, 2017 is when we are getting married, and we booked our, ceremony and reception venue since we're doing both at the same place, and oh my goodness, it's so gorgeous. So in the last update where I left off was that we had picked our top 5 venues that we were kind of considering. And then actually, immediately after I filmed that video, I'm serious, that very night, Melissa and I were kind of just goofing around and looking at more venues just to see what was out there, and we found this venue that was beyond gorgeous. It literally checked off every single box that we were hoping to find in a venue. We just fell in love. And so that place just jumped right to the top of the list. If you read the blog post for the last video, I actually did talk about this place a little bit because, by the time the video actually went live, we knew we were considering this place. It's just when I was filming the last update, we hadn't found it yet. But, so yeah, if you read the blog post, you've already heard a little bit about this place. I called it the Stone Mansion in that update, so if you're curious, you can go back and see our first thoughts before we toured it. I'll leave the link to that blog post in the description box below. But yeah, so after we got Mexico, we were kind of ready to go start, touring some venues. And at that point, we weren't, completely 100% convinced that we were going to go with the place that we ended up going with. And so we were still kind of planning on touring a couple different places and, seeing which we liked best and then making a decision. So we set up a tour and went out there, and I mean, it was just as beautiful in person as it appeared online. I mean, it was one of those places where you kind of drive up the private, drive, and you round a corner and you just see this beautiful old historic brick mansion, and it is just, it's breathtaking. I can't stress how beautiful this place is enough. I just absolutely love it. And from the first time we saw it in person, I could just totally imagine our wedding there. It has these amazing grounds and a formal garden and all of this kind of stone hardscaping kind of in the formal gardenware, which is where we are planning to hold the ceremony. And there's these big stone arches and this huge green field, and it's unreal. I can't wait to show you guys. I haven't decided when I'm going to show you guys because I haven't decided if I want this venue to be kind of a surprise and to wait until it's actually our wedding and we can get the wedding pictures of it all set up, or if I kind of want to share what the space looks like, now as we're kind of planning. So I have yet to make that decision. I may still share it with you guys, but for now I'm gonna hold off. But I'm so in love with it. Like I said in the last video, I'm a huge sucker for historic mansions. One of my favorite things is to tour old historic mansions like the cottages up in Newport, and I think they're absolutely beautiful. And I am so excited to be able to get married in one of them, and I cannot wait to see how it turns out. I'm so excited. So yeah, after Melissa and I toured the place, we knew that we wanted to hold our wedding there, and we decided to go ahead and book it. We decided that we didn't need to tour any other venues and that we were going to just go ahead and book this so we could be guaranteed to have a date, because we didn't want to wait and then have them fill up and not be able to get any date at all. And so we decided to book them, and we had a little bit of a snafu with trying to pick a date. So Melissa and I, from the beginning, we didn't have a single date that we wanted to, make sure we got married on. We kind of just had a general time of year, we wanted to get married kind of in the spring, early summer, and kind of whatever date ended up being available and worked for us, we would go for. And so we asked which dates were available, and then we were originally thinking of doing June 2nd, which is a Friday. But then after talking to my parents, we decided to try and see if we could do a Saturday wedding. And so we decided to try and book June 10th. And it was available, and we had the contract drawn up, and we're getting ready to, sign the contract, submit the deposit, and, book the place, when Melissa remembered that that's her dad's birthday. And so we almost booked our wedding on her dad's birthday, and he was very sweet. He said he wouldn't mind if we wanted to, go ahead with that date, but we decided it wouldn't be the best thing because then, for basically every anniversary, it would overlap with his birthday, and we want to be able to give both events their, own day, so they can each be celebrated on their own. So we decided to go ahead and relinquish the June 10th date, and then after that, we were going to try for June 24th, which originally had been available, and then so we went to go switch the date to that, and apparently that one had gotten booked. And so we just decided to go ahead and go back to the original plan of June 2nd, and that's actually the date that I had originally kind of penciled into, like, you know, my Knot account and into, like, just wherever, like, we needed to say a wedding date. Even though we hadn't set a wedding date, I just put that in there to put something. And so, I don't know, I kind of feel like since we ended up back at June 2nd, and that was always kind of the original tentative date, that it was kind of just meant to be. And I'm really happy with the date. So yeah, I can't wait to celebrate June 2nd for the rest of my life. And Melissa and I discovered that by getting married on a Friday, our first 2 anniversaries, so, you know, our 1-year anniversary and our 2-year anniversary, will also both be on weekends. One will be on a Saturday and one will be on a Sunday. So while not a specific reason to pick a date, it's a kind of fun little bonus that we get 2 anniversaries on a weekend. It's kind of a fun little side effect. So yeah, after we decided on a final date and we had the contract redrawn up to, you know, book June 2nd, I went back up with my parents to kind of tour the place and to show them around. And they loved it, of course. It's beautiful. And so we were kind of, you know, looking around, and so I was kind of, you know, showing them where, you know, they said the dance floor typically is and where the reception would be held. And another great thing about this venue is you literally, when you rent this venue, you get the entire house and the entire grounds to do whatever you want with. And so, I mean, it's an unbelievably huge property and house, and way more room than we are ever going to reasonably need for a 100-person wedding. And so we were kind of just, you know, playing around with ideas for, you know, where to put certain things so that it's not too spread out, but also, you know, taking advantage of the space that we do have, and, you know, just kind of, you know, chatting about, you know, where things may go, which was, again, really fun because I got to kind of, you know, imagine what it's actually going to look like. And I feel like now that we have an actual date and a venue, it's so much realer to me, because, I mean, of course, before my wedding was real, but now when I picture my wedding, I can actually picture where it will be, and kind of being able to insert all the ideas that I've been collecting in my head for, you know, what I want the tables to look like and what I want, you know, decorations to look like, and actually inserting it into this real space. It just, it makes it come so much more to life in my mind, and to be able to actually, you know, imagine how the ceremony will look and where the altar will be. It's just, it adds this level of realness, and I'm so excited. I was saying this to Melissa before, like, I felt like once I booked the venue and we had a date, I would be able to, like, enjoy the process a lot more, because also I was just a little worried that since we were, you know, approaching the, you know, 1-year mark from whatever date we chose, I was getting a little nervous, and I was afraid that we wouldn't, you know, be able to find a venue that we liked that was available. And once, you know, that was booked, I feel like that was the most important thing, and so now I can kind of relax and just enjoy, and we have the date, we have the venue, and now I just get to plan it. And so that has totally been true. Now, I don't really feel stressed or worried about anything, because everything else, like, you know, the caterer and the flowers, they can be very flexible. Like, if one caterer you find that you like is booked, you can just find another one. Whereas I feel like with venues, since they're so, you know, we would not find another venue that was exactly like this one, and so if we missed out on it, it would be, you know, either get married in 2018 or you just find somewhere else that you like less. And so, yeah, that has been really nice, having that weight lifted off my shoulders and being able to kind of start to enjoy it more and just have fun and just start, you know, planning the fun stuff. Not that planning the venue wasn't fun, because honestly that was like my favorite part, because I had an absolute blast and I am thrilled beyond belief with what we ended up with. But yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I think that's all I have to share with you guys about the venue. The next major thing that we've kind of been focusing on planning is our engagement party. And my future in-laws were nice enough to let us host it at their house, and so we have been kind of planning that. We just sent out the invitations. And what Melissa and I decided to do, since both of us have fairly large families, I mean, family takes up, I would say, 75% of our final wedding guest list. We decided to go ahead and plan 2 engagement parties, and so the current one is for Melissa's side of the family, and then, you know, our friends. And then I think we're hoping to plan another one for my side of the family later on in the year. So that way we don't have, you know, like a gigantic party that someone has to, you know, plan and host and, you know, all that jazz. So we decided this was going to be a lot easier, and yeah, So the only thing that we've really concretely done for that is get together a guest list and send out invitations. And these are the invitations that we decided to go for. These are just simple, basic party invitations that we picked up at Target, and they say you're invited, and they have, you know, like a nice gold and gray border around the edge, which I thought was fun because it kind of matches our wedding colors. Like I said, I think in the first video, we are going with a mint, white, and gray color theme with accents of gold, and so the, you know, gold and gray kind of goes. And I just thought they were pretty. So we got those all filled out and sent out. And yeah, I think we're just gonna do something, you know, simple and fun, and you know, hamburgers, hot dogs, and then, you know, some like chips and dip type of thing. And yeah, we haven't done too much, like, you know, finalized planning for that. I think that's going to be something we do this week and next weekend, kind of getting all of our ducks in a row for that and getting prepared. It's coming up in a couple weeks, so we have a little bit of time. We want to keep things kind of, you know, just fun and casual, just a bunch of people hanging out. And yeah, I think the one thing we did want to do was get bowls of M&Ms because, you know, Merrit, Melissa, M&M. And so we wanted to do that. Other than that, I'm not sure. We will have to see. And so I think that's all that we've really been doing. I did kind of finally outline a potential budget for the wedding. And what I did was, the Knot has a budgeting tool. And so I put in our overall estimated budget for the entire wedding. And the Knot actually gives suggested breakdowns for each, you know, area, like photography, how much you should spend on the dress, how much you should spend on, you know, flowers and all that. And so I wrote that all out, what they suggested I spend it, what I spent on it, and then I just kind of tweaked it to fit my needs. So I knew they, like, for example, budgeted way more to flowers than Melissa and I want to spend on flowers, but they didn't give as much to photography and videography, where we would like to focus more of the funds because that's something that's really important to us. And so I would kind of just reallocate, you know, money from flowers into photo and video. And so I kind of just adjusted it that way, and especially after I knew the concrete price of, you know, what our venue would end up being, I could kind of, you know, adjust based on that. And so I plan to kind of keep doing that throughout the wedding as, you know, we make purchases and we book different vendors and, you know, such, to kind of be able to keep on top of it so we don't, you know, go crazy over budget. And so we are kind of aware of, you know, where the money is going and where we want to be spending the money, so we don't, you know, spend the money on things that aren't as important to us, so that when we go to book things that are important to us, we aren't able to spend as much as we would have liked if we had, you know, kind of controlled spending in other areas, if that makes any sense. So yeah, like I said, photo and video is very important to Melissa and I because, I mean, there are wedding pictures in our wedding video, and I mean, as a blogger and YouTuber myself, and Melissa has an interest in photo and video, she actually went to school for photography. So yeah, that's something that's very important to us, so we definitely want to spend a lot of time finding the perfect photographer for us, and that's one of our next kind of steps. I'm following along with the Knot's kind of suggested timeline, you know, 12 months before your date, 11 months before your date, you know, and they give you a list of things to do. And so the next up, I think, is photo and video, and then caterer is what they're telling us to focus on. And so those are the two things we've kind of been trying to, you know, dive more into and find actual, you know, caterers we might want to work with and reach out to them and get their pricing. And so we've kind of just been casually doing that, and probably again this weekend we will more seriously, you know, contact and make a list and finalize who we actually want to kind of go interview and, you know, try and book those in the very near future. And so they will probably be in our next update, hopefully, if all goes according to plan. And I know we also want to get our engagement pictures taken soon because we want them more in the spring, summer again, just like our wedding. And so since it's getting more into the summery time, I think we're going to want to try and take those pretty soon. Most photographers I've found offer free engagement photos if you know, book them for a wedding. And so we were kind of trying to hold off a little bit to see if we booked a photographer in time to be able to still take engagement pictures when we wanted them. And so, yeah, if we book a photographer in the next, I'd say, you know, month or two or something like that, we'll take, you know, pictures with them. Otherwise, we might just get, you know, a photographer just for engagement pictures. And then if we get free engagement pictures with our final photographer, maybe just take a second session. I don't know. But, yes, that's where we're at with that. And I kind of think that's it. That's all that we've really done in the last month or two since my last update. I can't quite remember how long it's been since my last update. But yeah, I'm super excited again that we have a venue and we have a date, and I can't wait to get married. I'm so excited, but I'm loving this planning process. If you've been following me for, any amount of time, you guys know I'm a planner. I love planning, and so I have been having a ball. Oh, another thing. Okay, so I've mentioned in a couple of my previous videos that I want to do a video on my wedding planning system and kind of what planners I've been using and how I've been organizing myself that way. What's kind of holding me back is I have this gigantic, awesome planner from the Knot that's like a pre-made wedding planner. It has all sorts of worksheets and stuff that my mom gave me when we first got engaged. And so I really want to show that to you guys because it has been such a helpful tool, and I've been loving, kind of keeping up with everything in there. And it's like become my home base for wedding planning, but I don't really know how to show you guys because it is so chock full of information. I can't flip through, 300 pages of information to show you guys. And so I'm just trying to figure out how I want to film that video to show you guys. So if you are interested in that video, would you let me know in the comments what you would be interested in getting out of that video so I know what to focus on and what to definitely share and what I might be able to kind of, skip over and kind of, gloss over so that I don't go through, page by page an entire, wedding book thing. So yeah, let me know what you would want to see in that video and I can start getting that together and ready for you guys. And also be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you're engaged or you've planned a wedding before, I would love to hear any advice you have in the comments below. Things are starting to get, real serious with the whole planning thing over here since we booked a venue. It's going to start getting fast and furious, and so I would love any hints or tips or tricks or anything you got. Throw them in the comments below. And yeah, other than that, I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!